There has been a decline in the performance of the rail sector over the years. There's a physical deterioration of infrastructure on the facility, decrease in number of wagons, poor quality management due to low salaries or no pay at all, and inadequate investment in the industry. President Akufo-Addo's government has now created a ministry for railways to improve the sector, to boost growth and create jobs. We are now joined in the studio by Asa Mohammed, who's a development expert, to discuss this issue with us. Thank you for your time, Mr. Mohammed.
Thank you, my sister.
We're grateful.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good.
Yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let's just start off. The railway system, right, a few years ago in Ghana served as a major means of transportation for bulk raw materials. Gold, bauxite was all transported through the railway system, but now it's no longer the case. Now, how crucial is the separation of the railway ministry from the Ministry of Transport?
Thank you very much, my sister, and then good afternoon to Ghanaians. I think you said a few years ago, but the history behind the railway system started somewhere around the 16th century, and then particularly during the discovery of large minerals like gold, and then cocoa and timber in the Gold Coast. So I think it's far way back when the rail system was used as the main transportation system for conveying bulky goods in the country. So it is not recent, but I think the most important aspect of it today is the importance. And I've overheard many people talk about the creation of a ministry, separate ministry for it, as a duplication of effort. Yeah, but I, as an institutionalist, I've always said that institutions are created for a purpose. And for that matter, at any point in time, when a particular need is become urgent, there's the need for that institution to be created to take care of it. So it is in the right place that we have given that ministry or that sector a ministry. And all we know about ministry is to create that enable environment for a particular sector to grow and to serve as a supervisory responsibility. So somebody may ask whether we have the railway line or railway corporation, which several years have worked, collapsed, and then we have always heard the demonstrations from the workers. So it is important that we have created this ministry, and I will commend the president for doing that. Very
well. So in your view, it's not a duplication?
I think it is not necessarily duplication, because for sure you have sorry, I have lost my voice somehow, so
go ahead.
I'm sorry for that to listeners. But if you care to know, when the President Mahama came to power, when the issue of power or electricity became an issue, there was the need for him to give it more attention. So you realize that the Ministry of Power was created or separated from the Ministry of Energy and Energy and then Petroleum. And in the same way, somebody could also see that transportation is the overall need of the country. But specifically, we need the railway system to work, because over years we have not been able to add a little. We have just added a little to the colonial construction. The triangular one that existed from the colonial time are still those that existed till independence, and after independence we could not add until around 76. That about when the Champagne government decided to add more, to expand it to some other areas in the western region. But the question is it still necessary for us to limit it to the western region? Because it is not necessary. It is necessary for us not to limit it to the western region now because of the changing trends and the changing needs for the railway system. If you travel along the west, the west coast in particular, you've seen that there are a lot of different economic activities taking place. Not more the cocoa, not more the timber, not more only the gold, but different economic activities have come to add onto this, needing urgent and more bulky transportation systems. We lack that. If you look at the whole country, especially in the north in particular, if anybody who has been traveling through the north for the past 2 years, there has been this particular haulage of big pipes imported for Burkina Faso. And they have conveyed this for the past 2 years. I must tell you that almost every day you have not less than 10 trucks conveying these big water conveying pipes. If we had a railway line, what could have happened? Just a matter of a day, you could convey almost all that. The same way, if you look at the number of haulage vehicles that come from the Sahelian to Ghana and for that matter to the port to convey imported goods. We could have easily done that, I mean, very easily with a railway line system. So we cannot just undermine or underestimate the importance of the railway line system that we have in the country.
But we would acknowledge that rail transport is expensive. I mean, it's not a cheap investment. Yeah. So how can it be funded for us to see results?
Yeah, yes, I mean, it is unarguable that the cost of constructing a railway line is expensive, but it is not one day thing. It is not one generation. We have to begin to think as a generational country, a country that thinks about the next 100 years, the next 200 years, what will happen. And for that matter, somebody must start somewhere to think of that generational, objective. And for that matter, if we begin today even with 1 kilometer, it will still add up to the 1,000 kilometers that we are envisaging in the next 100 years or 200 years. So for that matter, the cost is not an issue. But we seeing the need and the relevance and see how we can plan it to integrate into the economic system of the country. As soon as we are able to do that, then any resource that we get, we can link it to the railway system. Let me just give you a hint that very soon, I don't know how soon, but very soon I have that belief that we'll be discovering oil in the Voltairean Basin. That is in up north, upper east, upper west, along the Volta Basin. And when we begin to discover oil in these areas, we need a very efficient and more bulky transportation system. So when do we begin to think this way? After we have discovered or we have evidence that there's oil coming up in those areas. So for sure, we need to start somewhere, and I think today, if we have a ministry that want to kickstart, I have nothing against that.
Very well. So you think it's a laudable project being undertaken by the President. Thank you so much, Asad Mohammed. He's a development expert who joined us to discuss the Ministry of Railway being set up by the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.